Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about our weekly forecast from February 10th until February 16th. This is going to be from Monday to Sunday because I wasn't able to make it yesterday, so instead, we're making it today. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends and family if they live in the impacted regions, which is the entire United States in this video, so they probably do. Now, let's get right into things. First things first, we're going to be looking at last week's temperature forecast and then comparing it to what actually happened. And here's that below average temperatures for the west and then above average temperatures in the east. But you can see particularly for Montana, the Dakotas, and then a little bit of Minnesota, and then also for the mid-Atlantic and then through some of the more central eastern United States there as well. So let's take a look at what actually happened in 3, 2, 1. And you can see, I think I overdid the warmth there for Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota. It didn't really come through, but definitely the mid-Atlantic there, you can see there was a lot of warmth, and then through the central eastern United States, definitely a little bit more cold out in the west as well, reaching some of the more central United States. So I think this was not my best weekly forecast, but definitely some of the things we got right there. Let me know what you thought, though, in the comments down below. Now, let's get right into things. We're first things first going to be looking at a little bit of our precipitation forecast here. And in our first shade here, we're going to have more dry than normal conditions there for Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, and in through Utah and Arizona. That's what I'm expecting here is we're going to have some below average precipitation there. And in this first layer, you're not really going to notice it too much, but on paper, you definitely will have some below average precipitation. Now, we're about to move on and add some more layers here to this precipitation forecast where I'm expecting a lot of precipitation for the southeastern United States. Stay tuned for that. Alright, but first things first, we're going to add our second layer of precipitation here, and that's going to be for California. And we're going to have some extra below average precipitation there with some more dry conditions than the surrounding tan regions. And this is an area where we see particularly below average precipitation is expected, almost none for this region here. Now, we also have a second area of below average precipitation expected, and that's going to be for South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and in through Michigan there, where we could have some on paper below average precipitation, but really not going to be too dry necessarily. Let's go ahead and add our above average precipitation regions here. And this is going to be for, again, the southeast, the south central United States, so Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, through Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and then down through the deep south, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and then up into the mid-Atlantic, so Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and up into some of the southeast New England states there, so Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and we see a little bit of upstate New York, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, so some other states getting involved with that slightly above average precipitation, but again, on paper it will be above average, but in that first shade, not really looking at too much noticeable above average precipitation, but we're about to add some extra layers of above average precipitation where we could expect to see some flooding in a lot of areas here in the eastern United States. Alright, so as you can see here, this is our second layer of above average precipitation. Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, a little bit of South Carolina and North Carolina there, as well as Virginia, West Virginia, the very, very southern regions of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and then we see Kentucky, Tennessee in that, Arkansas as well in that, and then a little bit of southeastern Missouri as well. These are areas where I'm expecting a lot of precipitation this week. First things first, today through tomorrow, which is going to be Monday the 10th through Tuesday the 11th, we are going to be dealing with some flooding rains for these areas and thunderstorms, particularly for Texas through Louisiana, a bit of Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and then maybe even into a bit of Georgia there. And then we also are going to be dealing with some severe weather Wednesday. So, I mean, there's going to just be a ton of action for these areas throughout the week here. We even have a third layer of above average precipitation, and this is where I expect a lot more flooding. This is especially where I expect to see some flooding. So portions of Texas through Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, a bit of northern Alabama, and then through Tennessee as well there for some of the more western central regions of Tennessee. And this is where it's going to be well above average precipitation for the entire week here. I think we're going to be dealing with some severe weather Wednesday, like I said, and then Monday, Tuesday, going to be dealing with the flooding. I mean, lots and lots of precipitation coming through this area during this week, 10th through 16th, action-packed week for the Southeast. I'm expecting to go live on Wednesday for that severe weather, by the way, so if you guys do live in these regions, be on the lookout Wednesday. I might be doing a very long live stream for those supercells that we could be expecting in these regions, an enhanced to moderate severe weather risk that day. Now we're about to move on to that temperature forecast where we're going to take a look at where you could be expecting below average temperatures and where we could see some above average temperatures as well. Now, first things first, let's get started with that above average temperature regions. We can see coastal Texas through eastern Texas. We're expecting some slightly above normal temperatures there. Louisiana, Arkansas, through the deep south once again, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, then up in through Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, then the Mid-Atlantic, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, D.C., Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and then all of New England as well. We're all expecting slightly above normal temperatures this week, and this has been the trend the entire winter, basically, with the exception of maybe the first 2 weeks of December. We've been stuck in this pattern of above average temperatures overall for the eastern United States. It's a little bit further east this week, but really, we're still just dealing with the same old here. We also have a second layer of above average temperatures, especially here for the coastal regions in the very far southeastern United States and a little bit of the mid-Atlantic there as well. And this is where we expect it will be a little bit more noticeable and a little bit more above average as far as temperatures are concerned for all of these regions. So we can see areas like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and then a little bit of southern Maryland there and a little bit of southern Delaware as well. We're all expecting to have some pretty moderately above average temperatures during the week from the 10th through the 16th. Now let's add that a below average temperature region here, and this is going to be all over the place in the central and western United States. The central United States is getting a bit of a cool down here, and that's been kind of hit or miss this winter. We've been having some cold periods, but also some mild periods as well, but this definitely will be not one of the mild ones. This is definitely going to be below average temperatures this week for a lot of areas like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, and these are areas that have been above average temperatures at times, like I mentioned before. We even have a second shade of below average temperatures, and this is where it's just going to be a bit more noticeable there, particularly there you can see for the Rockies, so New Mexico up through Colorado. We see areas like Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, and then Nevada as well, all experiencing moderately below average temperatures from the 10th through the 16th, like I said before. Now we're about to get into our special note segment of the video, which is going to be very exciting. We have 3 major special notes to mention to you guys today, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you're new to the channel, or maybe this is just your first weekly forecast you're watching, we do this special note segment just to show you guys the weather events that are coming up this week that I can see that I'm predicting to happen, and we just give you guys a heads up. Now, we're going to have some severe flooding possible. This is special note number 1 for the deep south states. I mentioned this before, so Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina involved in that, but mostly Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and a little bit of Texas maybe as well. From the 10th through the 11th, which is today through tomorrow. So Monday, Tuesday, 10th, 11th, we're going to be dealing with some severe flooding being possible throughout all of these green regions, and that's going to be special note number 1. Now, moving on to special note number 2, we're going to have some severe thunderstorms on February 12th, which is going to be Wednesday of this week, for Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and maybe even Tennessee there as well. This one looks to be a squall line, so a really strong line of thunderstorms that could bring a lot of wind, but ahead of it, we're looking at the threat for maybe some strong supercells and some tornadic systems, and that's mostly why I'm going to be live streaming Wednesday. That's usually the type of event that I think is really important to live stream to keep people informed of these tornadic supercell storms, and that's what I expect to do throughout the springtime as well. So be on the lookout again for that if you live in this red region, or maybe even just the surrounding regions there near the red regions. Be on the lookout Wednesday for our live stream and just be a part of it and stay safe, stay informed. At the very least, just be weather aware and have your weather radio or be on your local news. I'm sure they will be broadcasting the live radar, and your meteorologist will be going over it. Just keep yourself informed there. Now, for special note number 3, we're going to be dealing with a winter storm there for some of the upper Midwest and then up through the northeastern United States and New England for the 13th and the 14th. It's still to be determined how much snowfall we will be seeing during this storm, but we definitely know there will be snow somewhere in this blue area throughout the 13th and the 14th. Obviously, we will have some videos on that in the future coming days. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends and family, and I will see you guys in the next video.